It's wonderful to have you all here today, and we plan to record this session so that those who are unable to attend can watch it at a later time. And if you are uncomfortable with your video image and name being visible, you have the option to use just the initial of your name and turn off your camera to remain anonymous. And my name is Amber Pander, and I serve as a communication advisor at the VMBN, the Professional Association for Mindfulness-Based Trainers in the Netherlands. And tonight I am honored to be your host. This meeting is initiated and co-organized by the VMBN's Climate Working Group, and therefore I would like to give the floor first to Rebecca Bouwhuis, and she plays a leading role in the working group.
Thank you, Amber. I wanted to start first with some grounding, but let's not do that because other people will come in and then, it can be a little bit, how do you say that, onrustig. So I'll just start, and I know that Katrina is, doing a grounding part as well. So, well, first of all, welcome. And, well, we're happy that we're here, and my name is Rebecca, and I'm part of the Mindfulness and Climate Project Group. And we just started actually a couple of months ago. So we are fairly new, and this is the first Ontmoeting that we jointly organized. And we are really happy that Katrina Boekhuister is here with us this evening. And it's a great chance for us to dive into the MBST, the Mindfulness-Based Sustainable Transformation, and its teacher training program. And I'm not sure if you were all at the Mindfulness Symposium last October. For those who were, knew it, but Liane Stefan from the Inner Green Deal gave an introduction on the MBST. And tonight with Katrina, it's kind of a sequel to that, but she will guide us through the MBST as well, in case you haven't seen the workshop from Liane. And it's another step in learning how mindfulness can play a role in sustainability and climate change. And we see a growing interest in mindfulness for climate and sustainability, and that's really encouraging to us. It shows that we're ready for new ways to face the big challenges of these times. And just last month, Rob Brandsma shared his Mindfulness for the World program and the teacher training. And Liane Stefan from the Inner Green Deal set the stage for us with the inspiring talk. And now it's Katrina's turn to take it further. And Katrina isn't just an expert in mindfulness because she's a mindfulness-based systemic coach and practitioner. She's also a key player in the Inner Green Deal and working with big names like the European Union, the United Nations, and her work in developing the MBST and its teacher training program is helping us to find ways to make a personal and collective impact on a more sustainable future. And tonight, Katrina will walk us through the MBST and its teacher training program, and it's showing us how we can boost our personal growth and also to help us face environmental and social issues. Katrina's knowledge and passion for mindfulness and systemic thinking, and it will mean that we are in for an evening with great discussion and hopefully some great insights as well. So, Katrina, I hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rebecca and Amber, for a very nice introduction. And thank you very much for the invitation to this round. And I try lekker hier zu sein. I don't really speak Dutch, unfortunately, so I'm staying with English. Warm welcome. And I think, as we're a smaller group, we will have plenty of time also for discussion and your questions. But maybe I start with a little introduction of Inner Green Deal so that you know what we're doing. And then we'll also explain a little bit what we do today and how we do that, because it will rather be a bit interactive and experiencing parts of the program. And then we have also a part, where we dive a bit deeper upon your questions into the program itself. So, the Inner Green Deal is a nonprofit leadership program, a leadership development organization. And we are based in Cologne and in Brussels. We do have a growing community all around the world. So we ourselves, we offer monthly community events, so warm invitation to join. And you can just send me a message. I will later share also my contact details, or Amber and Rebecca can do so. If you would like to join, we have different topics there. And yeah, people join from all over the world. And the Integrate Deal was founded by Liane Stefan and Jeroen Jans. And the mission is really to accelerate the green transformation through inner development, reconnection to nature, and through collaboration. And for this, we closely collaborate with Professor Christine Wormsler from the Lund University Center for Sustainability Studies in Sweden. And as Rebecca said, we work with large systemic organizations. I'm just back from a 2-day retreat with the UNFCCC, so the climate part of the UN. And we are also working with other parts from the UN and also European institutions and major organizations, but also with community leaders and facilitators. So there, our aim is really to give facilitators helpful means to bring their wisdom, knowledge, and all their work to communities, and also to start and lay the foundation for a flourishing, greener, more equal world. And we think that regarding sustainability and moving forward in that, mindfulness plays a crucial role, and we will come back to that later as well. So for today, it's really about time for connection and reconnection to ourselves, so mind, body, heart, and a little bit to nature, but that's also the thing about online programs. We include it as much as possible everywhere, and you will learn about that, how we do it. And then we also have a nice practice at the end. So I invite you to stay until then as well. Let's together do a little practice. And for now, to start now with a little minor grounding practice at the beginning, I invite you to move a little bit forward on your chair and let your arms hang, shoulders relaxed. Lay your hands on your thighs. And then take a deep breath in. Long exhale. And notice what releases inside of you when you exhale. And another deep inhale and long exhale. And then notice the contact of your feet with this ground. And you can give all your weight to your feet and to the chair where you're sitting. And become aware of how you are feeling now. So you might be just coming here in a rush, or fully relaxed already. And curious what will happen. Just curiously watch what comes up. Without judgment. And become aware that the ground you're touching with your feet connects us all wherever we are. And really try to feel that connection. And slowly coming back and taking another deep breath. And in your own pace, you can open your eyes again. And with that connection that you just felt, come back here to this online room that we share. And for the ones who have turned off the camera, invitation to turn on the camera if you like, just for a short moment, and turn on the gallery view, which you can do in the upper right Zoom window if you haven't done so. And have a look around who's here. You might know each other already. I don't know. Yeah, you can wave. Make eye contact. Try to at least catch a smile. See who's here. Yeah. And maybe share in the chat what touched me most last time I was out in nature. So whatever it is, maybe it was a big thing or a tiny experience, touching moment in nature, whatever you come up with. Yes. Seeing signs of spring. Yeah. I don't know what crocus is in Dutch or English. Sometimes it's similar. So that's what we've seen this morning, like velvet crocus. And that was just amazing. Yeah. The air on my skin. Snowflakes? Yeah. Schneeglöckchen, I think. It's in German. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's something that we can observe now in nature. I think that's always a magical moment when these seasons change and we already see a little bit of spring coming up. And to start with, I invite you to a little thought experiment. So this is a little experiment that came out of the Ministry of Future Generations in Wales. And I already find it quite amazing that there's a future ministry or like a ministry for future generations in Wales. They come up with that little thought experiment. So just bring to your mind the youngest person that you deeply care for. So just the youngest person in your life, can be your child or the child of someone else, that you deeply care for. Just picture that little child. And then bring to your mind the oldest person who's still alive that you deeply care for. That can be a mentor or a parent or a teacher. Okay. And then just for a moment, and we will send you in a breakout for reflection around this, is imagine how was the world when the oldest person was as young as the youngest person is now? And how was life at that time? What was maybe easier? What was more challenging? So just for a moment, when that oldest person was as young as the youngest person, you might need to calculate a little bit. How was life at that time? challenges, or moments that this person might have experienced. And then we do it the other way around. So traveling to the future, when the youngest person that you think of now will be as old as the oldest person is now. What would you like the future to look like at that time? And what might be the challenges at that time? What will the world look like? What will that person experience? What comes to your mind? And also, what do you want to contribute yourself in shaping that future towards a more caring, regenerative, flourishing place? So just for yourself, take a short moment to reflect. See if there's pictures arising or emotions. Maybe there are even senses of smell that come to you. What is the future that you envision, and what could be your contribution towards that? And we will now send you in little breakouts. So it's, I guess, 2 groups when not so many people. And the question is, during this little thought experiment, what came up in your mind, so thoughts, in your heart, which emotions, and maybe also in your body. So maybe you sense bodily reactions, and make sure that you have equal speaking time. So we will have 9 minutes, 3 people. And yeah, maybe you can speak in circles, so like one after the other. I will share in the chat the questions, but you can also just exchange on whatever came up for you. And are the breakouts ready, Amber? Rebecca?
Katrina, yeah, I see that Sarah had a question.
Oh,
right. It's struggling a bit. Does the future has to be a realistic one or a wished one?
Maybe it's good to look at both. I think there's a lot of ambiguity. So when we feel what will probably be the future, might differ very much from what is the future I wish for. And please also bring that to the table. Yeah, thank you. Okay, then enjoy the conversation. Always too short. And when you're in a breakout, so thank you very much for the wonderful exchange. Then you feel it yourself. So yeah, maybe a short moment to hear from you. What did you hear from your partner in the breakout group? Something that struck you, or that stays with you, or that resonated with you? So something you'd like to share? Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you say Karin?
Karin, just
Karin.
Karin. Yeah, okay. Well, just before I went to this meeting, I was watching the news, and it was about extinction of animals all over the world, and especially those animals that are migrating. like the birds and the fish. Especially 20% are threatened with extinction, it seemed. But then I also realized that, so I am very lucky because I am the one who can still see all these animals. They are still here. And when it comes to future generations, I don't know what they are going to see. But so yeah, I just wanted to share this, that there's something to celebrate while we're still here with all this diversity in nature.
Wonderful. I think gratitude is one of the best ways to cope with the struggling as well. Yeah, that we have. Thank you very much. Okay. Who else? More words? Yeah, Rebecca.
Yes, when you go back in time, I had to think about World War II and how life was then. And I was with Sarah, and Sarah also said like simple, and it's almost like you had an overview. And now when you look like so many years ahead, I noticed that I became a little bit frightened. It's like, oh, what if we are in another war again? And if the youngest person has to build up the world after a war. And that just stuck in my mind. So thank you, Karine, for also sharing like the gratitude and that we are still able to see, because I was in a different kind of state and emotion.
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca. Good.
Yeah, I think it's so easy to get caught up in the worries because we don't know. But when you think about it, you're talking about Second World War, and I'm sure they don't look at it as a nice time to live in. And when I also looked at my oldest that I was thinking of was my father-in-law, and he was living quite a tough life in the mines in Wales. So I don't think that they necessarily think that it was a better time then than what is ahead. We don't know what's ahead, but I think it's really easy to get caught up in the in this catastrophizing thoughts because we just don't know what's there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting to hear, right? And I just read a short passage, someone saying, well, the life that we have here earlier would have been called the Schlaraffia, so Schlaraffenland in German. We have everything, you know, enough food, everything at hand, shelter, warmth, everything. But then other things pop up and we don't really see it. So I think gratitude is very much part of it. You know, do we really see what we have? But then also acknowledging, you know, what comes up when we look back. And we talked about that as well, you know, in Germany, but that's valid for all the other countries as well, where we see right-wing parties, you know, increasing and thinking of what happened earlier and how, you know, the whole process went. And then looking in the future, as you said, Sarah, even before, you know, that's we have so many different emotions around this. And different scenarios are possible. So it's also the question is, what is it that I want to contribute to? Yeah, what is my role? And that's also part of the program, but also, yeah, I think that's very important is this part of self-efficacy in a certain sense. So really feeling I can't change everything, but I can contribute. I can play a role with the qualities that I have and the competencies. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to share at this moment? Okay, because what I also realize is, and that's also a feedback in the programs, but also with our community, we don't very often have spaces where we can share about these emotions that come up. And I think that's also part of the problem, that people feel I'm alone in this with my anxiety, my grief, but also with my anger. And also this, contradictory emotions that I face. And I think that is, well, that is part also of our mission in a certain way, is, providing these spaces and also helping you facilitate these spaces and contributing to that, so that more people have the chance to come together, speak openly, share about emotions. That's not so natural in our environments, nor at work, but very often also not at home. And also live with these, contradictory views, emotions, and still connect on a human basis, even if we don't share the same opinion. And that's is something where I feel we can really contribute to overcoming this polarization, at least in our communities where we are active. Yeah. Okay, so I like to dive a little bit into it. And we'll share not too many slides, but a little bit to give you an overview. And I can definitely send you all the slides afterwards, and or like to Amber and Rebecca, and you can share that then. So what we've done here, I didn't want to show slides, but it's also there for the practices, and you can later on have a look. So the next one is coming to the mind and mindfulness, and you're the experts for that. So just bringing it a little bit in connection then with sustainability is that we see more or less three major connections between mind and the crises that we have, and how we relate to that. So first, everything starts and springs from the mind, and also relates back to the mind in a certain way. So all these crises that we face, continuous negative news, this, also relates back to our mind, increasing, climate anxiety and grief and the associated overwhelm that we face in our society, particularly among younger generations. And I've seen Sarah as a psychologist around this. I think, you're much more familiar even with the data behind. So, we see increase in depressions and mental health problems that has a huge implication for our society. So I think what helps is really being aware of and regulating our own emotions and learning how to do so, and then skillfully handling these emotions, fostering also community, and as I said, create these spaces where it's possible to share about that. And the next one is our mind also is a barrier to impactful climate action, because we're running so often on autopilot, trigger response mechanisms that we have, a lot of biases that we face, and especially in our super stressful environment, and everything's becoming, faster and faster. We don't really pause, and that then for sure even increases this problem that we don't really know. So it's that knowing doing gap that people talk a lot about. We somehow know what we should do, but it's super hard to act on that, and that's valid for the individual but also for the collective. So that's why we feel also, mindfulness plays an important role to create space, to become aware of reality, how it is, and then out of that, taking conscious decisions for action, and not just perpetuating the habits and patterns that are not helpful. And also, we see that our mind is kind of a root cause for the current crises, as it really determines how we relate to ourselves, to others, and nature. And we see that the crises that we face are at its roots relationship crises. We're separate, or we feel separate from ourselves, very much disconnected, we feel separate from others, each other. So we've, some humans are superior to other humans, as it seems, and human beings then even both separate and superior to the rest of the natural world. Seeing nature as a resource to exploit, and treating it as benefit for humankind, which then leads to abuse and destruction. And so that is also something where we feel this is like really the root cause, and really the step to start with is re-establishing that reconnection to ourselves, to others, and to nature. And also realizing that we are in nature. Very often we feel like, okay, it's us and the environment, as if it was something external, which is absolutely not the case. And based on this, how do we do this? And I will also give an overview of the program parts itself. We'll do that a bit quicker, and then just upon your questions, dive into the details that you're interested in, so that I don't, talk too much around it, but rather have it a bit more interactive. From there, as I said, it's really about that cultivating that space and stillness to become aware of what is my role in this. And we talked about gratitude, that's one thing, and also awareness and compassion that we cultivate to find out our role. And that is also something that you then facilitate to your communities or the organization that you work with. And then with a more integrated mind, heart and hand, also nurturing the ones in your community that create change and facilitate change, bring that forward. So that's a bit how it goes. And then leading to collaboration and impactful action. So I would see like 3 major implications, which is your personal journey in this. So that's also deepening again. And I know your oral experience, and we already have quite a nice and mixed group of people from different sections and backgrounds. But that is also why it's the whole program is 1 year. It's really diving deeper and going on your own journey, and then learning how to facilitate that, bring that to your communities, and how to foster transformation there and bring people together to collaborate. And I'm curious to hear from you what you think are the qualities that we need to bring forward the transformation that we need in our communities, but also in ourselves. What are the essential qualities? Maybe just write in the chat, or you can also unmute. We're a small group. So what do you think are qualities if we want to move towards a more flourishing and fair and regenerative society? Compassion, yeah. Courage, connection, calmness. Self-reflection. Outside. Yeah. Awareness. Make people vegetarians. Yeah. Yeah, and that's also how maybe initially, this came together, because Liane, I think a couple of you might know her, I don't know. She founded Avaris a long time ago. So that's a company delivering so mindfulness programs and resilience programs and so on. And she came to a certain point where she felt like, you know, when you're really practicing that, you come to that point where you see reality as it is, and you just can't not do anything about it. And that's, you know, then how it linked to sustainability. And Jeroen, working within the European institutions, within the perfect fit also to bring it to life. And yeah, exactly the qualities that you share. Yeah, so that's something we often forget. We had one in our program. We had one participant, like an activist for years, and she actually said, you know, during this program, I learned back, or like I gained back joy in this, because I had completely lost it. I was always like, oh, we have to do that. I have to convince everyone, be super strict and hardworking. And then realized bringing back in joy and reconnecting to the purpose, why she's doing that, and what is it that I want to protect, she said. Then also she created more impact, because her conversations with other people were like completely different, with more interest, and yeah, bringing that joy. So thank you. And that's what we see also in our collaboration with Professor Wamsler, that these are essential qualities that directly are linked to how we react and how we are active, or like how our actions are pro-environmental, and how we lead others. And you said compassion, and that is, for example, something where we can see it has the strongest link to outer action, because that is really something, you know, an active emotion in a certain way, that I link, I see the suffering and I want to do something about it. So awareness, obviously, to see and realize what is, and see reality as it is. Compassion, courage to also speak up, gratitude, as we already said, and resilience. Maybe quickly, Christine Wamsler, we have a research contract with her and are partnering. So all programs are always evaluated also by her and the team. And there are some publications, so I will give you one in the chat if you're interested. Works now, yeah. And there are even more that already show also the link between inner development and outer action. And as I said, I will go through parts of the program, and then you just say, okay, what is it that interests you most? And we can have a close look. So the goals are really to you know, help people understand the link between inner and outer, and also how to bring that link to your communities and the people you work with, and how mindfulness can support that. Then the reconnection to ourselves, others, and nature. And that's what's always a big part of the program itself. Practice what you preach, and working also in peer groups. So linking also in between, and working on a handprint project is something that we invite you to do. So not only reducing, you know, the emissions footprint, that's what we have a strong focus on, which is also good, but we want to extend that with the handprint, which is a concept to create positive, proactive action and inviting others, and that's also part of it. Then, yeah, cultivating these inner qualities, and learning about that, doing practices around that, overcoming your biases, and also helping others then to do so, and handling eco-anxiety and other emotions, and also cultivating a long-term view. And then it's about collaboration, and it's concretely in the MBST program, but also then in the teacher training, we, people collaborate around concrete projects that they, come to prototyping in the end, and really live collaboration skills in a certain way. And then for the teacher training, well, it's of course also part of it is enabling facilitation skills for you as MBST teachers. This just comes additional practice and understanding more principles of facilitation and deepening more for you, and how these transformational programs work. And we are building on contemplative methods, mindfulness practice, but also body practice and so on, and also imagination practices, where we feel it's super important that we really imagine a different future, from which we then can start saying, okay, what is it that we need to do now to get there? Else, if it's just like doom and gloom, and also scenarios that we want to avoid, we don't really, activate energies. And then it's also about wisdom traditions. So nature walks, we include medicine wheel and others. And as I said, collaboration. So also how do I communicate, overcome these polarizations also in our language? What are the narratives? So part is also storytelling. And then, systems thinking. How can we come from that view of what can I change as an individual to what can we collectively change, or how can my tiny actions that I take maybe lead to larger systemic impact, and how can I extend that? And we, as I said, we evaluate all our programs. So there's a strong outcome, and just picked some things, but you can have a closer read in the publications. So I just see, yeah, Rebecca, thank you very much. So we see mindset changes on one side, so really more awareness with people, more mindfulness and compassion, but also people change behaviors in a way, and also how they view humankind and how they relate to others. So also becoming much more trusting that we can do something about it, and change their own habits, and becoming less, or reducing eco-anxiety. And some very practical results. Any questions at that stage? Else, I would just give the structure. I don't know if do you already have some information up front, or how deep should we go to the structure? Some of you? So I just go. So it's an 8-module program, the MBST, from working with the mind, working with emotions, then coming more to what is your role, what is calling you, then towards systems thinking and self-efficacy. So from individual also to collective transformation, and then collaboration and prototyping, so concretely working on outcomes. And this is the structure of the Mindfulness-Based Sustainable Transformation Program, but that's also embedded for the teacher training. It's embedded, so we have the program, which is if you haven't participated, then it's also pre-recorded, and you can go through the program itself, and that's embedded then in starting with the kickoff session, and always you have that module. You have then peer groups, and for the modules, Q&A sessions where we deepen the content, but also have an additional part for your own transformation journey. So additional exercises and exchanges and deep dive into that. And it's a year-long program because we felt it's, it's not only about conveying some content, but it's really about going through that inner transformation ourselves to be able to lead it and facilitate it with others. Because what we also see, it's about handling quite strong emotions in these programs that can come up when people really dive into that start their own journey. And in the end, we had these modules, and in the end, then like a final session, bringing it all together, integrating, and then certification. And we can jump into that more if you have questions around it. So it's really about, empowering you on that. So gaining self-confidence and assurance to lead with authenticity and influence, and making then a significant difference in the lives of your clients and broader community. About igniting then others, so really facilitating for collective action, and discovering techniques for facilitating group collaboration and collective action, and also empowering your communities. And then, experiencing the energy of connection and collaboration, being part of also a supportive community of like-minded people and fellow MBST teachers, where we really provide ongoing support to each other. This is something I go through now a bit faster, but if you have questions, we can jump back to that. So it's with the expectations next to the sessions. We ask you to also have like daily practices to really practice, what you preach. You probably already have that. And then nature walks, journaling, but also, your peer group work. And if you like, join the community meetings, but also quite early starting to facilitate yourselves. So that's what we encourage, and also what you can practice in your peer group. So it's not like only after 1 year you can start, but like quite early already starting to facilitate your own sessions and then gaining feedback from others. Learning and growing together. These are the parts for certification, but I'd rather stop for a moment, just see if for now there are already questions. Around that. For the structure, is it clear how the modules are aligned, or do you have questions at that moment?
So I see a question of Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
She asks, maybe you want to.
Yeah, I already saw it. The question was, is it online? But I see it at our online sessions. So, and I really like the program. I'm very interested. Thank you.
Yeah. So it is online, and we encourage you to, find your peer group. This might be also a local group. So that's also possible. You can group yourself as you like. Could be around certain focus topics, but it could also be local groups so that you can meet and do like nature walks together, or practices also locally. That's definitely possible. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, great.
I'm wondering, so who's the typical person who would sign up for this, not like the teacher training, but for the actual course as a non-mindfulness teacher?
So far we have like for the MBST. Can you see me good, or shall I stop? I stop the screen share for a moment and then come back. So for the MBST course itself, it's super broad because so far we have offered open programs, but we also received a funding now for delivering 5 programs, and most of them are then for like directly to NGOs, organizations. And that's also something that we are looking for, you know, to get more funding. So, for example, if you were an MBST facilitator, then later on, so that we can also provide you with programs, but also, you know, you bring it to your communities. And it has been completely broad. So people from inside organizations, so HR people, for example, participated. But also psychologists or MBSR teachers, regular teachers. So it's quite broad. You can imagine, you can take that to an organization, even like a private company, and do that with the stuff there. But you could also do that with your local community. One is now redesigning a little bit, doing that for young people, so students. And there are many different options. So it's designed to be either facilitated in-house or as an open program where people from like different areas can join. Yeah, if that answers your question. Perfect. Yeah, it's really super broad. We also have like researchers or academics in there, because it's really about, you know, your journey, and you know, finding your role, but also to come together with like-minded, and it's very much also about collaboration. So yeah, I think that's more questions at that stage. So we'll just maybe share some more points, and you could just, you know, just raise your hand when you have questions, then we can come back to that. So this is like part of the certification, but you will also find like these more technical information also on our website. I will share the link also in a moment. So I just wanted to show you, this is like the team. You have already seen Christine Wormsler. And she will also be there at the very first session, but also during the program. I think that's always also nice to have that research backup there. And then it's Liane, Tessa, and Gretchen as a facilitator team, all experienced in mindfulness, but also in facilitation, coming from different fields. So quite a mixed team of people. Which is always nice as well. And maybe also interesting, because you will later on have access to that also, is we are working with a social learning platform where there's more content to deep dive, like articles and videos, but also the chance to interact and exchange around seeding questions. There's one section, and we have an app. I think it's even at the next slide. It's a bit slow here. A mobile application where you have all the practices. So yeah, breathing space practice, gratitude practice, and more. And also the nature walk, the guided nature walks. So this is something that the MBST participants receive, but also you then as a trainer. And you can use that when you bring that, for example, to your communities, which is quite nice. We feel to not have like the full content during these sessions, but rather focus on interaction there, on, you know, joint learning, so that people self-paced can have then, you know, deep dive into the content and study. Yeah. Well, that's also in the practice. Yeah. So are there any more questions around this?
Katrine, I have a very practical question. Not sure if that's okay.
Yeah.
But I see the dates and I would miss the last weekend, the end date, probably. That's next year, because I'm going for a treatment to Australia in the month of February and March. Would that be like a big problem?
Well, we say, you know, a requirement is 90% attention rate, so to say, and to be there. And we definitely recommend then, you know, to have a strong peer group where you can, you know, go through everything that we've done. We are also there to discuss, because then if it's the last one also, there might be a couple of questions around certification and things like that. But yeah, if it's not more, because then you kind of, you know, lose broader parts, then it's always like that. It definitely can be something. And if it's a long program like this, it's sometimes hard to plan like all the dates in. Yeah. That's okay.
I won't miss the rest. Just that one. I won't miss the rest.
Yeah.
Just that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. More questions or anything that comes to your mind? If there's interest, would it rather be to participate in the regular MBST program itself, or also around like becoming a facilitator for the program? Just because I'm curious.
I would like to try a program as a participant, not as a teacher first, and then maybe make the next move. So that are my thoughts at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know where I could go to a workshop or a training as a participant?
Well, definitely. Well, I will also share my contact details for now in the chat, so you can just, you know, drop me a message, because we will also start another program this year, like a regular one. And what I can definitely, or like the invitation definitely is there to join our regular community events. And that's also like, that's around different topics. For example, we had one about HR meets sustainability. We had one about the stories of the other than human, which was super nice. So we had like a climate parliament, and people were speaking on behalf of the melting ice shield or the tree. So really to connecting with the natural world. And one will be about drinkable rivers, upcoming in May, and February we will have one about the ecological age. So how, you know, how to handle also uncertainty, and what role does restoration and reciprocity play in this. And we also have a podcast, which is maybe also an inspiration. So Inner Green Deal. And I don't know, maybe Amber, it's possible to later on send some further links, so that we can share also about the podcast, because there, like the latest episode is also around nature as a right, or this, you know, rights for nature in that direction. So it's also quite interesting, and might be give a little teaser for the next community event. And that is where, you know, learn to know the community a little bit. And there are always people who participated either in the programs, the shorter programs that we deliver with you, or also from MBST. So you can also connect around that and hear from the experiences of these people. That's always possible. Yeah. And I think, Maud, you also wanted to say something, or
not necessarily. I don't know yet completely how or what, but I find it very interesting. And I would maybe be interested in doing the teacher training, but then it would be interesting to first know a little bit about the actual participants program as well. So yeah, where my thoughts going around my head.
Yeah. Yeah, we thought this one here is like a little like an add-on to what Liane did before. So it's a bit more focused on the teacher training, but I still brought in some things from MBST so that you understand, what are the modules around. But you can just, also just give me a call or write me, and I'm happy to provide more information about the MBST behind, so to say. Definitely.
Thank you. I will do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we will also, like, before it starts, we'll probably be in summer. Before it starts, we will also offer like info sessions, which are like pure Q&A then around the program itself. Yeah, and if you're on LinkedIn, you can also follow the Inner Green Deal and be updated with what happens.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You can always ask Maud if you have any more questions. Ask me as well. I participated in the MBST last year.
Yeah.
So, and I think that Liane gave a talk for the EYAMBA last Friday, February 9th. And I think it was also about the program, if I'm correct. And I know that EYAMBA also makes recordings. So maybe we can check, Amber, if there's a recording from the talk of Liane as well. So maybe we can share that also.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. Good. If you like, I offer to do a little practice out of the program. If you can still join a couple of minutes and relax into it. So yeah, wherever you are, on the chair or on the floor, you can also go to the floor or whatever you find most comfortable. So you really choose a comfortable position, allowing your back to be upright and the shoulders relaxed, the head balanced. And take a deep breath in and exhale completely. Noticing what releases while exhaling. Again, inhale and long exhale. And notice how you're sitting here. Just become aware of your body as a whole. And perhaps there are certain sensations in your body that you notice. Sensations in your chest, in your back, or elsewhere. Just notice them. And then zoom out and notice your body as a whole. And then bring to mind someone you feel very close to, someone you care about deeply. And this could be a child or a family member or someone else, whoever naturally warms your heart. And take a moment to choose someone. Now let the image of that person arise in front of you. Look into the face of this person and just notice how you sense now, how you feel in your face or in your chest. And if you like, you can place one or both hands on your heart area, keeping the image of that loved one in mind and realizing that this person breathes as you do and is subject to aging, to sickness, and like you wishes to be loved and to be free from suffering. So wish this person from a deep place of affection to be well, using the following phrases. May you be safe. May you be free from suffering. May you go through life with love and courage. And repeating these phrases in your mind, being curious how they resonate with you. May you be safe. May you be free from suffering. May you go through life with love and courage. And just realize for a moment how similar we are all. The similar needs for safety, love, and connection. And that we are all experiencing the impact of climate change in one way or the other. And that depending on circumstances or where we are born, that these consequences of climate change impact us differently. So extend for a moment your wishes to those experiencing difficulty through droughts, flooding, or wildfires. May you be safe. May you be free from suffering. And may you go through life with love and courage. And now expand the love that you have in your heart and bring to mind a wild animal. This could be a deer or a squirrel or a bird, whoever naturally warms your heart. And take a moment to choose a wild animal that you care for. Now let the image of this being arise in front of you. And imagine that being in its natural habitat, whether that is in a forest or a savanna or another place. Seeing this being in their full splendor, breathing as you do. And seeing them with their offspring, nurturing them. Realize how similar the needs of this being are to yours. How these needs are challenged by climate change. So wish this being to be safe and well. May you be safe. May you be free from suffering. And may you live your natural life. May you be safe. May you be free from suffering. And may you live your natural life. How do you feel now? And what do you notice in your body? Now opening up to all wildlife and all of nature. Realize again that depending on circumstances and location, climate change impacts wildlife and the natural world differently. So extend your wishes to those animals and trees and plants that are suffering from droughts and floods or wildfires or other events. May you be safe. May you be free from suffering. May you live your natural life. Sensing our shared nature and that our lives are interdependent and connected. And then taking another deep breath. And gently open your eyes and return with a sense of love and connection and courage. Maybe if you like to share how you feel now, either in the chat or you can also speak up. Calm and thankful. Maybe there's something that comes to your mind. Sometimes just take it with us, that experience. Yeah, so we are already coming to an end here, this session. I'm here for a moment longer if you still have questions or like to share something. And else I recommend, that we, connect via email and we'll send further information, but also on the Inner Green Deal page. I will just share in the chat. You will directly find information about MBST and the teacher training itself, but you can just, contact me also and can share more about that. And the teacher training itself will start on March 15, so also quite soon. And even if you have not done the MBST itself, it's possible to register. Then you will receive the recordings from last program for self-study then as a preparation for the teacher training. So that's also possible. And else around summer, we will start with the next one. And we'll definitely announce that. And yeah. Thank you very much for this, interactive sharing. Beautiful to connect and to learn from you. I'm curious to see you maybe in the community events or in the teacher training or in the MBST, the next one. And yeah, handing over to Amber again.
Thank you, Catharina. I can send all the relevant information in the after mail. So don't be worried about missing anything. I can just put it in the mail so everybody knows what you need to know. And Catharina, I want to thank you for leading this meeting about the MBST and sharing your expertise on integrating mindfulness with environmental sustainability. Your guidance is instrumental in inspiring positive change within our communities and beyond. Thank you very much for your time and your being here. And I also want to thank Rebecca Bauhaus for initiating this meeting on behalf of the Climate Working Group. I think your dedication has been pivotal in bringing our community together for this significant topic. Maybe Rebecca, maybe you want to say anything more?
No, I just want to say thank you, Katrina. It was really inspiring again. And also thank you for co-creating the MBST and also the teacher program, because I think this is really what the world needs. More mindfulness, more awareness. And that's why these programs are so important. So I really hope that lots of people will join it, that we can create like a really big green community. And then maybe the world looks different in 80 years from now, like the first exercise, who knows? But we can at least play an important part. So thank you for that, Katrina.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation and the space and the connection. So I'm very much looking forward to staying connected. And yeah, I share that, definitely. That's why we're working on it. Because we feel it's very much about the relationships that we have. And let's, reconnect people and build that stronger community and facilitate the transformation that we need. It's not so much about technology and figures. It's more about the hearts and connecting that to our minds and body and to nature. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank everybody for coming, of course. And for all the people who will watch this later on.